Good morning, everyone. This is one of those days on Talking Feds when I have to pinch myself and feel incredibly lucky for the some of the fellow travelers, or really much different travelers I get to come across. Today we are talking with, you've probably already seen, a Hollywood renowned figure known for a series of iconic roles that pretty much have followed me throughout my lifetime. We're kind of peers, starting, of course, with Happy Days and Arthur Fonzarelli, who was a crush of my teenage wife. Which is not how I thought most people would react to Arthur Fonzarelli, but I guess that really was the deal. And then, of course, Arrested Development as shyster lawyer Barry Zuckerman, Gene Cousineau, or on
Cousineau.
Barry,
Yeah.
and all the way doing producing and directing works too. Henry Winkler. Sorry for that long-winded introduction. I got overexcited that you're here with us.
No, and I am excited that I'm
Yeah.
here with you because I watch you during the day and in the evening. It is always fascinating to hear these points of view about how the country is teetering on the edge of Niagara Falls. It is like amazing. There's a log that has just caught itself and could go either way if it is not.
It feels that way, and it's like a Perils of Pauline. Speaking of the Hollywood kind of lineage, but I don't know, what's it feel like? Hollywood is certainly a community apart, and it has felt. I had a different career 6 years ago. Everything kind of changed with that walk down the escalator. Was the imprint of Trump also really profound and within the Hollywood community? And what's it been like?
There are so many people here, and it is so different. And we don't always talk politics, and because of the pandemic, getting together, socializing is just happening again, really. And what's happening is that there are pockets of people getting sick again, so that is keeping us further apart. But when I listen, or what I personally feel is that I don't know what the country thinks the end game is. I don't know what the people who are voting, and I'm going to be very straight, like for Herschel Walker, not because he is an athlete, not because he is a gigantic human being, but the man actually cannot put thoughts together. And yet we want him to be in the hallowed halls of all those people that are supposed to be taking care of 330 million people.
Yeah. Who we typically ignore, but now we can't ignore because we are perched on Niagara Falls. I've done a little work in Hollywood over the years, writing scripts, and you get big stories out there, and
Yes.
people think in terms of, okay, is this a 6-part series? But we're talking about real life and real and very sort of sober risks out there. I'm just wondering if among the kind of entertainment community, people are, genuinely either shook up or angry as citizens, or does it kind of wash over them and just play out as what's the next pitch we're going to make about this stuff?
My instinct is that for most human beings,
Yeah.
it is too scary to think about the end, the result, to where this could be going.
Yeah.
My grandparents are they were from Germany. I
Right.
never met them. I never met aunts and uncles. They were all taken to the camps. I did a show called Better Late Than Never, where we
Right.
traveled around the world with George Foreman, Terry Bradshaw, Bill Shatner. In Berlin, I was supposed to find my roots. I heard about my uncle, never saw my uncle.
Your uncle stayed behind, right? When your
Yes, he
father
did.
was your father was in the mid-30s, was able to take you.
6 weeks. He had 6 weeks
Yeah,
to go on a business trip to New York,
right,
but in his mind knew he was never going back.
right.
My uncle stayed because he was having a tuxedo made, and he waited one day because it was going to be ready the next day, and they took him that night. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how precarious it was. And the
yeah.
rhetoric that we are not really paying attention to right now is the same rhetoric that started on the streets of Berlin. And I'm telling you, sometimes I feel the brown shirts breathing on my neck.
Wow. And you mean sort of throughout the country, because there's also quite a, recent controversy about Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live and anti-Semitic thoughts about Hollywood itself, because there are a lot of Jews there. But you're talking, I think, more broadly about the crazy stuff in Georgia and in Red Country. Yeah.
And in Florida,
Yeah.
how can you not know somebody is at your table? You are a past president. There is, excuse me, a Secret Service bunch
Yeah.
that is vetting people who are coming in, I'm sure.
Or they're supposed to. Are you now, Henry? Do you pay more attention to the news based on your background or other reasons than you did 7, 8 years ago?
Yes, and I have always been a news junkie. What I find is now I'm driving, I try to listen to all the stations to hear the different perspectives and eventually turn to the comedy channel on Sirius Radio and listen to these 2-minute riffs of
Yeah.
comedians just to clear my brain. It used to be music. I would get all crazed, and let's imagine my brain went from pink to gray because I was confused and I was like amazed at what was going on. Music would bring me back to earth. Now, thank God, it is the comedy channel on Sirius.
Really, because you could drive yourself crazy. Although the comedy channel, maybe in the last few days I mentioned Dave Chappelle. I saw a really funny riff with on Colbert with Jon Stewart, particularly as a Jew in Hollywood. Is any of this kind of recent rhetoric and anti-Semitic people having dinner with Trump, does it more than offend you? Does it in fact,
It doesn't.
shake you up?
It doesn't offend me. It shakes me up.
It does shake you up.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you that if it, I believe Stephen Colbert said, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck and it
Right.
goose steps like a duck, it's a Nazi duck.
Yeah.
And I am shocked. I don't want to be the lemming that walks out of my house with a suitcase that I never see again. Do you know what I mean? I
Yes.
just when you watch Ken Burns's documentary and you hear exactly the same words that are being spoken today, it is scary.
You
Dave
don't wanna be in the
Chappelle,
grainy newsreel, yeah.
no,
And what
let me
about the instinct?
let me
Go
go
ahead,
back
sorry.
for a minute just to
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle. I don't know why, but Dave is such an observer of
Yeah.
the whole picture, I think, that I am not yet totally offended by his humor. It is America. You can say what you're thinking, but I get the sense he sees the whole picture. It doesn't come out of hatred.
I had that feeling too, as did my 14-year-old, who I said, that's not anti-Semitic. But nevertheless, it was reacting to a clearly anti-Semitic incident with Trump's dining companions. Um, What's going on with you and your peers? Is it a time yet when people are really beginning to figure out the kinds of stories to tell about these crazy years? Is it still too fresh and raw? You probably have a sense of the things we're going to be seeing on TV in 2 or 3
What
years. How is Hollywood processing this weird historical period?
I don't have an answer to that
Yeah,
question. What I do see is that um, the gay community is being more represented than
interesting.
ever before in commercials, a character in almost every series, shows about stories about single sex marriage or single sex love. And it takes a while for it to permeate the brain of the most important person is the buyer, because they are the ones who buy it and then put it on.
And by that you mean studio or you mean American people?
Studios,
Yeah.
networks, independent companies, independent financiers. But it's really interesting to see a palpable embracing of all different lifestyles now in commercials for toothpaste,
Yeah.
for medicines. It really is, and there they are, and it's a wonderful thing. And we've got this incredible cabinet member who is one of the most articulate human
Mhm.
beings on the earth, who talked just last night about my married life is exactly the same as your married life. I worry, my husband worries about exactly the same thing. Here's a thought that kills me, that comes to my mind. A hurricane devastates a community. The human beings of that community are on a roof. They are spelling out with laundry, help. They're waiting for someone. A boat is coming. I've never seen those people on the roof say, "What's your political
Right, right,
bent?
right. Yeah.
What color
Oh,
is your
rainbow
skin?"
now. We'll wait for the next
Yeah,
helicopter.
thanks so much, but no, I'm hanging out here.
Right,
Thank
right,
you.
yeah.
You
It's
know,
good. Getting it, catching some rays. Yeah,
we need each other,
yeah.
and we are so willing to batter each other for no purpose. It affects who they are, unless they have a gun and they want to kill you, or a knife and they want to stab you. It affects your life in a zero way.
Hey everyone, we're taking a quick break to ask you to take a second to like and subscribe. It's a quick thing that really helps the show. Thanks, and back to the video. If you don't mind, I'd like to spend just a few minutes talking about your life because it's a great life story. So we've heard about your folks and your relatives in Berlin, but you're a West Side New York City
Yes,
kid.
I am.
You get to Yale repertory drama and then come out.
How I did that, Harry, I don't know.
Well, what I wanted to ask you about is after, the normal story is, so how many years did you wait tables and blah, blah, blah. You've told me, in fact, about your trip to your first few months in Hollywood. Could you give the quick skinny on what happened to you?
All right, so you're looking at one of the luckiest human beings on the face of the earth in every way. I don't know exactly why. I'm so grateful. I got here on the 18th of September. 2 weeks later, I am offered the Fonz on Happy Days. I only have 6 lines. I'm the seventh character on the call sheet. I'm number 7.
Is this the very beginning of Happy Days?
Very beginning, the
Yeah.
pilot. I'm way down here. in Lonely Land. I'm happy. I'm getting $1,000 a week. And
Wow.
out of that comes this enormity, this flight of fancy that has taken me around the world.
Many times. Yeah.
Many times. So I was here for 2 weeks. I got the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the Bob Newhart Show, Happy Days, and now I'm loving every second of Barry on HBO.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, not just right away, but such incredible longevity. Although, and also producing, directing, you have had in stratospheric highs, also relatively idle periods. Have you ever felt sort of insecure in your career in Hollywood? Maybe it's all over because you've disproved it every time.
Okay, I will say to you, I think no, I'm dyslexic, so I'm very, and I write books
And you've given,
about it
and you more than that, you do a lot of charitable work for it, etc. Yeah,
because I understand the child who learns differently.
yeah,
Because how you learn has nothing to do with how brilliant you are. How you learn is just different. Just because I didn't get geometry doesn't mean that I have not met my dream. I have to say, I believe there is an emotional component to being dyslexic. You feel so bad about yourself. You cannot take the enormity of what is happening to you to heart because they can't be talking about me. They must be talking about somebody back there. It can't be me. I went 8 years without working from the time that Happy Days finished until I started acting again. So then you try something new, and I tried being a producer. I was scared. I'm
yes.
scared all the time. I'm insecure all the time.
Even now, as you've had success after success after success,
What's going to happen
right? The
when
next,
Barry ends? Yeah, I'm an actor, and I'm back in those metal chairs, sitting in
right.
the room, waiting to be called. And it's true because the executives at the network, at the production companies, at the studios, their life expectancy is about 19 months.
Right.
So they are nervous themselves. They want to make sure, oh, wow, he's 77. Does he walk and talk? Can he still memorize? I've got to see him. I got to see him. I can't just do the tape.
It's so funny. I spent a little time, and it's a place that combines sort of, sort of a cool affect with terror underneath, and
Terror.
all levels. Exactly.
That is a word that is the perfect
Yeah.
descriptive word. Terror, because
Yeah.
everybody they're all hustling in order to stay above water. I see, when I was younger growing up, I saw my life as a cylinder of stainless steel with no handholds, no foothold, and I tried to get to the sun. And I kept like a Brazilian tree frog. I kept slipping down the steel until I finally got my face in the sun. I got a little sunburn. It was great.
That's a fantastic image. Henry Winkler, it's such a pleasure to talk to you, share not just your personal thoughts, but your thoughts about the world. I hope we can do it again.
You know what? Me too. It is. I must say, I am thrilled that next time I have to be in a room to shake your hand.
It would be great. Where should we go? You know Hollywood best. What's the place to go to
Okay,
see and be seen?
it depends. If
Yeah.
you want a pizza,
Yeah.
there is a man, Chris Bianco,
Okay.
who has a pizzeria in downtown, but also in Phoenix, that people fly from all over the world to have his pizza. If it is a
I have
hamburger,
trouble believing that as a temporary New Yorker, but you're swearing by it.
I'm swearing by it. I've had
Okay.
pizza everywhere.
All right.
This is extraordinary. Pizza Bianco. There is a cheeseburger
Uh-huh.
at the window. You order at Win and you pay at Dough. It's called the American Beauty.
I
It
know. Yeah,
never.
I stopped eating meat about a year ago after we did an episode on big agriculture. So
Okay,
pizza.
all
Yeah,
right. That's out.
there were
So what is
Lobianco
your
Pizza
favorite,
near downtown.
what is your favorite food?
Italian or Chinese?
Italian or Chinese? Italian, John and Vinny are two chefs. They have opened 5 restaurants, but 2 of them, one in West Hollywood and one right where I live, called John and Vinny's. They never miss.
It's a date, Henry Winkler. Keep killing it, and come back, and we'll figure out something live. Really an honor to be with you today.
I thank you. You know what? We'll talk. I'm writing for the first time a biography with a gentleman who's helping me, and it is. I can't believe I'm actually doing that.
An autobiography, you
An
mean, or no?
autobiography that will come
Yeah.
out in 1 year.
Wow. Do you have a title?
Being Henry Winkler from the Fonz on,
There you go.
or something like that.
Well, that'll be an hour talking feds or talking books in and of itself. Be well. Thank you so much.
A pleasure, Harry. Give my best to your family.
I will. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.